The month of January was the Mac Yak PowerPC Challenge, where a bunch of us old Macintosh nerds challenge ourselves to use decades-old PowerPC Macs for as much of our daily computing as possible. And well, I'm in it to win it. After first getting my early revision 1999 iMac G3 to browse the modern internet with OpenBSD, I set my sights on something a little more involved. I decided to become a professional Twitch streamer using nothing but a 20-year-old PowerMac G5. That's right, and not only would I have to get this decades out-of-date architecture to actually talk to Twitch, I'd have to set it up to run real streams with high enough audio and video quality that people would actually stay and watch. And I could meet Twitch's metrics to become an affiliate-level streamer. And today, I'm going to show you all the weird stuff I had to do to make that happen. And hopefully prove that you don't need to buy a price-gouged 3090 Ti to make friends and have fun Twitch streaming. So stay tuned. And if you enjoy wrestling every last drop of performance out of computers that are older than 26.4% of the US population, I hope you'll consider subscribing to the channel, because if you think that streaming this thing to Twitch is impressive, just wait until you see some of the wacky upgrades that I have planned for it. It was a bleak and dreary day in June 2005 when Steve Jobs formally announced that the Macintosh was transitioning away from PowerPC processors. Actually, it was probably warm and sunny because WWDC is held in San Francisco. Anyway, just like today's Intel to M1 Mac transition, there were still a few PowerPC Macs released in that weird transitional window, including this one, the most powerful PowerPC Mac that Apple ever released, the dual processor 4-core PowerMac G5. In our last video on this beast, we inspected its sometimes leaky liquid cooling system. You know, I don't really know what I'm looking at, and got it to boot to the very latest version of Debian Linux, which is still compiled for its 64-bit PowerPC architecture. Though, it's not without a lot of problems, including becoming completely borked after a package update with systemd failing early in the boot process, which renders the install completely unusable. So since that last video, I've switched the OS to Void Linux, a lighter and much more closely maintained distro. And I've upped the RAM to the maximum 16 gigabytes. And I've spent the past week or so streaming this thing directly to Twitch using a custom script that I pieced together from a few different places online and tweaking it as I went. It's a really surprisingly usable experience. So as a refresher on this machine, its specs are actually pretty interesting. It was the last PowerPC Mac released before the Intel Mac Pro, and it included a lot of cutting-edge features that no other PowerPC Mac had. Instead of the previous G5's PCIX and AGP video, this machine used the, at the time, bleeding-edge PCI Express, which of course is still the industry standard today, meaning that theoretically, under Linux, this PowerMac can use things like modern GPUs, which is one of the things we experimented with on our Twitch streams, but we'll save that for a future video. If you want to see those shenanigans now, I'll link to the Twitch channel below. There's a ton of VODs up there that you can watch. So on paper, this machine is strikingly close to reasonably modern specs. Quad-core processor, PCIe, 16 gigs of RAM. The bottleneck has always been the operating system. The latest macOS that this thing runs is Leopard from the end of the 2000s. It's great for period software, but it absolutely struggles with any kind of modern web usage. Never mind trying to stream audio and video live to Twitch. And that's where the Linux install comes in. Void Linux is a modern operating system with modern underpinnings which can compile and run a lot of modern open source software. And that includes fast modern browsers like Firefox and software that we need to stream. I was even able to compile OBS, the open source software that most Twitch streamers use to broadcast. So let's boot this thing up and I'll show you how I got around its many limitations and how I spent the past week streaming to Twitch from it and actually got up to affiliate level using nothing but this PowerMac. But do you know what doesn't have any limitations? Your imagination when you use the sponsor of today's video, PCBWay. Because if you can imagine it, then you can create it using the many prototyping services that PCBWay offers. Everything from custom PCBs to high quality 3D printing and even CNC machining. And now's a great time to check out 3D printing and CNC machining because they're running a pretty cool special right now, so check out the link in my description below for more details. It really helps the channel out and you won't be disappointed. So in order to actually stream, we're going to need a couple of things. I mean, obviously the computer, which is Void Linux running on a 250 gigabyte SSD on the SATA 1 bus, and again, kitted out with 16 gigs of RAM. Networking's no problem. It has 2 gigabit Ethernet ports. It also has 4 USB 2.0 ports, a FireWire 400 port, FireWire 800, and of course those PCIe slots if you want to add things like USB 3 or USB-C. I went back and forth on which monitor to use, but I landed on the 20-inch Apple Cinema display. It's beautiful and it has a great resolution at 1680 by 1050, although it does mean I have to pull out the chunky adapter so I can actually use it with normal DVI. For microphone, I'm using this nice cheap CAD mic that I picked up off of Amazon years ago. It's USB 2.0 and it was like 20 bucks, but it sounds fantastic and it has a couple options for audio on the mic itself. So this way the computer doesn't have to work too hard to make the audio sound good. And of course we need our streamer style pop guard on there. And we need one of these fancy microphone arms so the microphone can be in just the right spot. And for the camera, I'm just using this simple Logitech 1080p webcam that I already had on hand, and the quality is actually pretty good. So this is the physical setup, but really that's just a fraction of what we need here. The more important thing is software. So let's boot this up and let me show you how we can stream to Twitch. So here we are booted into the Mac, and as soon as we start doing stuff, you might be able to hear a little bit of an issue. Doing anything that puts any kind of strain on the system really makes these fans ramp up, so having the microphone so close to the machine really isn't an option. So instead, I decided to put the tower all the way on the other side of the basement with a bunch of USB extension cables for the camera and the microphone. So this is Void Linux for PowerPC 64, and it is a wonderful distribution. And I would do an install video on this, but honestly, it's one of the easiest installs I ever did. Just burned it directly to a DVD with the XFCE live ISO and just follow the instructions in the installer. And you have a fully working, kind of really nicely kitted out install of PowerPC Linux. So for streaming software, the normal choice on a modern machine is OBS, which is Open Broadcaster Software, an open source application that pretty much every Twitch streamer uses. And a lot of the other streaming softwares out there actually use OBS as a base. And I tried to install OBS, which is not in the repository, so I had to compile it. And it compiled just fine. I did the portable version, which puts everything into one directory. So I have a 64-bit binary of OBS. However, when I try to run it, we get illegal instruction, which is a pretty cryptic error and pretty strange to see. If it compiled on 64-bit PowerPC, it shouldn't be trying to make any illegal instructions. So what people actually told me is it's probably the video card. We're using the original mid-2000s NVIDIA GeForce 6600, which does not have all of the stuff built in that OBS expects in a video card. So if we ever get a working upgraded video card in here, most likely we will be able to run OBS. But there's a big caveat there. We're working with extremely limited resources. We have 4 cores of 20-year-old technology. Granted, we do have a nice 16 gigs of RAM. And yeah, we need to keep as much of that open as possible for the actual stuff that we're doing on the system. OBS as a big piece of software is going to have too much overhead. But what you might not realize is that OBS is actually just a very nice, convenient front end to a piece of software called ffmpeg. And ffmpeg is just a command line utility that lets you do lots of different stuff with video encoding and transcoding and even streaming. And you can mix in your audio with it, and it's actually really convenient. So I took from a couple different sources to come up with my own little streaming script. The first source I found is the Arch Wiki, which is the best wiki in the world, which actually gives you a whole lot of information about using ffmpeg to stream to Twitch, including an example script here. Now, the only problem with this script is that it kind of assumes that we're using a modern computer. So some of these options will actually break the stream and cause unexpected results. So we're going to use something much more simple. I found this video from Cantankerous Tech on YouTube all about streaming to Twitch from ffmpeg. And not only does he demonstrate just how well it can work with his face in the video and everything, but he includes in the description a very concise script, well, an ffmpeg command actually, that he used for the stream. And I put this together with some stuff from here and a couple other things that I figured out to actually make my own version of the script, which likewise I'll put down in the description. But let me close Firefox so we have some resources on the computer to work with. So I just made a script called streamtwitch.sh. And all this script does is, one, takes my Twitch key, which I saved as a separate file so I don't accidentally leak it on stream. And then it uses ffplay to show the video from dev video 0, which is the webcam. And it puts that into the background and then actually does the stream right here to Twitch. And I up here just have a copy of the command from the Arch Wiki that I was just taking stuff from back and forth and experimenting. But this is the actual command that does the streaming. And all it does is use ffmpeg x11 grab to grab the x11 desktop environment here, the whole screen, sets the video size to the resolution 1680 by 1050, tries for a frame rate of 24 frames per second, although that's a bit optimistic. We were nowhere near that. Probesize is something I got from the Arch Wiki, which seemed to make about a frame per second improvement. And then it uses alsa to take my microphone audio and actually does a little bit of compression on the audio to make it sound a little bit better. And then encodes H.264 video, preset ultrafast to try to get as high of a frame rate as possible. YUV 420p is what Twitch expects the format to be in. And just sends it output directly to the Twitch rtmp ingest URL, which they have a list of those on Twitch that you can choose from. You're just supposed to pick the one closest to you. So I picked the JFK one in New York. So the way that I get my face in the video is I use ffplay. And let me just show you what that command does. Yeah, hello. So there's my face, and we can just put that right in the corner here. And this is capturing at 640 by 480, which seems to be good enough. We don't really need any better resolution than that just for a tiny face in a corner. And then the other important thing is, of course, putting Twitch chat up on screen. So in order to do that with using as few resources as possible, I have a web browser called Interweb PPC by the incomparable Wicknix, who actually graced the stream with his presence and helped me set up Firefox and Interweb PPC. So thank you very much, Wicknix. But like any true professional, I just have it right in the downloads folder and I just run it straight from there. And all Interweb is a very stripped down, little bit of an older Firefox. And we can pull up Twitch and use the chat pop-out URL to have our Twitch chat just right up in the corner. And it works remarkably well. So why don't we put all of this together and just pop up a quick stream so that we can see what this looks like. So I'll go into my Twitch folder that I made and I have my stream Twitch right here. Stream twitch.sh, and as soon as I hit enter, it's gonna go live. So we've got my face in the corner, and this shows in the kind of log here our frames per second. We have a nice healthy 9.7. And let me pull up an H-top so we can see what our CPU usage looks like. Yeah, so we've got, 100% on one of the G5s, but we still have some room to play with. And hey, look, we have Orange Nick here in the chat. How's it going, Orange Nick? Yeah, so you can see I'm filming right here. You're on camera. And then to end the stream, it's just a matter of Control-C on that window where it's running. And it works pretty well. I mean, we had 10 frames per second. We had chat up on screen. I was able to chat back from the Mac. And yeah, we still had some headroom to be able to do other things on the computer that we would be streaming, like play some simple games, which, we did. We even played online games on itch.io. So again, a surprisingly usable streaming experience. Here, check out some highlights. Is it frozen? Uh-oh. Oh, look at that. Oh, it's beautiful. It's so good. Oh, look, there's the chat replay. Oh, this is perfect now. This is perfect. I wish we could hear this song. This is my favorite song. Look there, Steve. Oh no, Sean is late. All right. Oh God, the Endianness. Yep. Yeah, I think the browser is slowing the browser down. Oh, this barely works. This is not easy. Well, I think we're dead. Power left -1. Where's the jump? Oh, there it is. Now, that's what I call a jump scare. Alright, well, it's like impossible to play, but I'm going to play it again. Alright, night 1. So I did it! Technically, I'm a professional Twitch streamer, having reached monetization as a Twitch affiliate using nothing but a PowerMac G5. That's just, that's amazing. It's hilarious, and it's amazing. I know we only made like $4 on Twitch, and we probably spent a lot more just in power costs running that super hot, loud PowerMac G5. But I don't think I'm going to stop here. I'm going to continue this experiment, because I have some other ideas. If we set the rule of only using PowerPC Macs, we can continue streaming from the PowerMac G5 as the main streaming machine, And I have a USB 3 and USB-C card, PCIe, that I've put in there and it works. And that can let me use USB video capture devices, even the same ones that I use on my modern MacBook Pro. And plus, if we're only using ffmpeg to stream, what other machines can we get to stream? Could we get a G4 running Adelie Linux or even the 32-bit Void Linux to stream to Twitch? Could we get a G3 running OpenBSD to stream in any capacity to Twitch? I have a 600 megahertz iMac. It would be pretty cool to see if we can even get a frame or two per second streaming the OpenBSD desktop to Twitch. How cool would that be? So that'll do it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I had a ton of fun making it and streaming to Twitch from this thing. I mean, it took a lot of my time this week streaming for 7 days, but the payoff was worth it. Well, not monetarily worth it, but you know what I mean. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, I'd appreciate a thumbs up. And if you'd like to see more PowerMac shenanigans like this, go to my Twitch channel because I might be streaming from a random PowerMac, and also make sure you're subscribed to this channel. See you next time. And a special thanks to Camilla Noseda, Chris Allegretta, Chris Calderon, Chris Nelson, Greg from rtmp Mods, John Malman, Nick Hamsey, and Scott Thompson, who are my highest tiered patrons, and all of my Patreon supporters for helping to make these videos possible.